Ascent Easter programme. We're going to be live in the Stade Gilbert Frutos in the not too distant.
Monster, and he monstered Salford last time out with a couple of tries, and the Castleford Tigers, Andy Lynch and co, are going to have to handle David Taylor of this big Catalan Dragons side as Luke Gale gets the game underway in Perpignan. Catalan, 3 away wins already under their belts, but looking to improve on their home form. The Castleford Tigers going into this on the back of that great win over the Leeds Rhinos. So this one set up very nicely indeed.
Well, it's usually at this time of year we start to see the best of the Dragons. The weather gets warmer, the pitches are firmer. Can they live up to that? So far this season they haven't really fired. We haven't seen the creativity. They've taken fewer risks when they've had the possession. It's fascinating to see how they adapt to this match and take on the Tigers today.
Catalan I beg your pardon, do have their injury worries there without Pat Richards, who's gone down with a bug, and Richie Myler just picked up a slight knock in the Good Friday victory, so he's unable to play today. And Justin Horo, another absentee. Pelissier starting once again for the Catalan Dragons. He started the last 6 in actual fact, more used to seeing him coming off the bench. Denny Solomona getting an early bang in that tackle.
It's worth talking about this man as well, Bill, as we see him get up gingerly. Luke Gale post-match, Castleford's win over Leeds at the touchscreen, spoke about Denny Solomona. It's a heavy tackle. Nunes Pelissier involved along with Duport. And it looks like he might have got a limb, upper limb, hyperextended. They'll want Denny Solomona on the field, and they want him on the field for 80 minutes. Luke Gale said he doesn't have the passing range of Luke Dorn, but his running game is exceptional. Catalan Dragons, you would imagine, will have done their homework on Denny Solomona returning the ball and being out the back in any shift plays that Castleford may do.
Well, they know all about him. Denny Solomona had 2 tries disallowed when Castleford were in Perpignan last February. Very controversial calls as well. Felt very hard done by after that one. Here is Jake Webster, outstanding against the Rhinos last week. Couple of tries, big influence on that game. But it's the 13 on the pitch starting this one who are going to have a big say in this game. They've got young Tom Holmes on the bench, Will Mayer as well, as Escaré gathers that ball.
Well, there's the first kick really from Luke Gale in this game, and I think we'll see probably 10 to 15 of them. Whether the Dragons can put him under any pressure. He's been one of the best halfbacks in Super League so far this season, and the kicks that he puts in very often have a major influence on how the match develops.
Jody Broughton taking that ball up. Here's Fuad Yaha coming into the side in place of Pat Richards. He's been out for the last 5. Now Greg Muniz, and Muniz upended. Good work from Adam Milner. Stopped him in his tracks with that tackle.
You're offside, David.
Carney gets the kick away, and Joel Monaghan lets it ricochet away. His old club, Warrington, subject of a amazing Hull FC win at the KC Stadium. And that's a knock on. And Monaghan complaining that there was interference there from Catalan.
No, it's actually your man's fault, knocked it out of his hands.
Charged forward by Greg Muniz. He knows that they need to be strong in the middle, but this is the first win here, isn't it? Start set of the opposition half of the field here. We have seen a few opportunities there. Joel Monaghan seems to have lost that try-scoring ability he had so successfully at Warrington. But over nearly every single game, quite been as dangerous for the Tigers. And this time it's his turn to defend.
Mason will come off the bench, signed on a one-year deal. He's shown up pretty well so far. It's Tony Gigot now, he's in the centres. In place of Justin Horo. There was a suggestion that Glenn Stewart would be playing in there, but Lauren Fraser deciding that Stewart was more at home in his second row position, second row role.
It was forced, but last week they had Dave Taylor playing in the centres for a long stint against the Salford Red Devils. Did well as well.
It was Louis Anderson, Castleford Tigers having to shut things down in the middle of the field.
Back here, get here!
Muniz, short ball from Muniz. Here is Taylor stretching out.
Is that not Busquet, perhaps?
Busquet, you're right, it is Julian Busquet. Carney, long ball over the top. Fuad Yaha will use his strength. Nothing could stand in the way of Jody Broughton. And he goes over for the first try of the game. Broughton's 5th try of the season as well, and that was simple but effective from the Catalan Dragons. Busquet, first drive under the post, and then a long ball from Carney, finding Jody Broughton.
Well, the Dragons have shown they're going to penalise their opponents and punish them severely if they give them the opportunity near their own line. First we saw Busquet go close, and then the power of Broughton, who's been pretty impressive since he joined the Catalan Dragons. Long ball from Carney, and so close to the line, it was almost impossible for Jai Hitchcock to stop him scoring the first points here, putting a smile on the faces of the home supporters. Bunts and powers over from a metre out, 4-0 to the Dragons.
Jody Broughton's taken a while to break into the side. He had to wait for his debut. But he's capitalised. He got that 11-minute hat-trick in the game against the Huddersfield Giants. And he's continued his scoring run with that try, the first of this game. And Thomas Bosk has the goal-kicking duties. No Pat Richards. And Bosk yet to post his first points of the season. But pretty calm conditions in Perpignan for this one. Unlike back in the UK with the blustering winds. And Bosk, 11 seasons a Catalan Dragons player. From wide outs, sets that one off. And not missing Pat Richards on the evidence of that.
Now, when you're defending this play as a winger, you've got 2 options. You can get up hard and hit Broughton as hard as you can, or you can sit back and try and absorb Broughton into the tackle. But if you're going to do that, and that's what Hitchcock tried to do, you need to clamp onto the ball and make sure you get yourself between the ball and the ground. Hitchcock's there, got busted off and dumped off by Broughton far too easily.
Here is Julian Busquet. He's been ever present so far this season, Busquet. And here is Taylor now. Mike McMeekin right up in the face of the coal train, stopping him in his tracks there. Pelissier goes on a little run. Stewart felt that tackle.
Ryan Boyle, wasn't he? Almost cut him in 2 from behind.
Oof. Gets up to his feet very slowly. Good work again from Busquet.
A very deliberate and controlled set of tackles here for the Dragons to get up to halfway line. They've scored the 6 points. As I've said, they've been more conservative this year than in previous season. It's 5 drives and the high kick back into backfield.
Solomona comfortable underneath that one. No great pressure on the fullback other than collecting the ball, but Stewart is there to make the follow-up tackle. He's been the top tackler in 5 of the 7 games so far that the Catalan Dragons have played, Glenn Stewart. Great acquisition. Here's Jake Webster now. Greg Mencken was with the run, making a rare appearance, the former York player. Gale gets the kick away. Pressure was the shout from the Catalan players, but there wasn't much on Gale there. Escaré returns it.
It's almost a perfect opportunity, isn't it, to come back in and impress. Sat patiently waiting for his opportunity here. To his home supporters, family and friends, in a game against a team that have played very well this season, the Tigers, for many parts of it. Got the opportunity to try and compete, I suppose, with Tony Guichot for the full-back role, who has been very good for the French team so far.
In attack.
Ryan Boyle with the tackle. Nathan Massey down low. Carney kicks crossfield, putting the ball behind Hitchcock's. Broughton is chasing. There's a good kick into the corner.
It's a great kick, Bill. Ryan Sheridan looking on. Former halfback will acknowledge the class of Carney. He can bring control to a game, and it's what the Catalan Dragons will need to do in the early stages here. Feel their way into this game. Castleford themselves, following on from that great win against Leeds, a confidence-boosting win, want to come here and not let this scoreline blow out much further than 6, Phil. I think they need to keep this between 6 and 12 consistently through this game to have a chance to win it out at the end.
Well, the Dragons' template in this opening 10 minutes is similar to the style that St Helens adopted to win at Widnes, wasn't it? Very simple, try and get to the other end of the field. They've taken few risks and make sure they want to put their opponents under pressure and force them into error.
Nathan Massey plays the ball. Boyle. Now then, Ryan Hampshire. Here's Ben Crooks, but Crooks pops the ball out the back, and Hampshire was alert. Ryan Hampshire loses his footing. The tackle from Gigot. Andy Lynch just inside their own half. The Castleford Tigers, who trail 6-0 here. Strong run from Massey. Left Pelissier on the ground. On last, Gale stabs the kick in. Good kick into the corner. Escaray fields it. He'll be keen to make an impact, Morgan Escaray. He's been very much on the outer. Lauren Fresneau preferring Tony Gigot at fullback. Here is Gigot.
Two good players at making ground early in the tackle, and they've been awarded a penalty. Andy Lynch interfering for too long. Lynch was outstanding against Leeds last Thursday. Almost 40 tackles, 20 runs, 10 passes. He did almost everything that the Tigers needed for him. But whether he can back that up now.
What Gigot does brilliantly, you can keep an eye on him during this game, his late step gets him in between two defenders, and if they can tackle him, they're at a disadvantage. He gets down, gets up, ready to play the ball before they're set. Often a penalty, the result.
Well, that was the decision from referee Ben Taylor. Oh, Taylor gets the hands free and gets the pass to Todd Carney. He drifting across the field, then brings Louis Anderson back. Escaray steps, still going Escaray. Eventually is tackled by Jake Webster. Was hoping to find a link with the men out to his right, but it wasn't there. But Catalan pouring forward now. Short pass. Needed to be a good tackle from Ben Crooks, I think it was. Bosk serves it up to Muniz. Carney now. Carney. Luke Gale with that tackle. It was on Escaray, just about 5 metres out. Now here is Julien Bousquet. They survived this. The Castleford Tigers will have done well, but they're right up on their own try line now, as Carney stabs a little kick in, but nobody following that one. And the Tigers do survive.
Well, I thought that was outstanding defence from Castleford. Firstly, Ben Crooks did enough to stop a try. He gets the ball in now and he gets his side rolling forward. Great transition from surviving on the line to giving it to Hitchcock up almost on the halfway.
Jai Hitchcock was a bit of a doubt. Could have had a penalty there, Castleford. Surely there was a shove from Catalan as Hitchcock's got to his feet to play the ball. Hitchcock was a bit of an injury doubt. But this is a good turnaround from Castleford. They were struggling in their own 10-metre area. Now here they are coming forward at some speed. Lynch, Gale back for Webster. Webster cannons off the first Catalan defender and finds the pass. Little wave of the hands from Hampshire. Confidence from Ryan Hampshire. Here's Crooks. Good footwork from Ben Crooks. Has Dave Taylor all over him. McMeekin. Lynch now. Gale gets the pass away. Solomona bats off Carney. Puts a lovely little kick in. Could be an opportunity, and has to do well to push the ball dead. What a great counter from Castleford.
Good play again from the Tigers here. You know, whenever the ball close to Dennis Solomona, there's a danger. He's made more breaks than any player in Super League, and he puts the kick in there, hoping that his teammates get onto it. The question for the Tigers is, how do they get the best from Ryan Hampshire? Is it as a running threat, one who passes to his teammates? That obviously will evolve as the season goes on, the more game time he can have.
I think with Luke Gale, it's got to be a running threat, Phil. I think Luke Gale will pull the strings. He'll organise. You've got to get Hampshire threatening on at least one side of the ruck, running the ball, absolutely. He can find his way into being more of a ball player, but his biggest asset at the moment is his running game. They've got to see it. We've got to see it here.
So goal line dropouts. Gigot thumps the ball downfield. The sun setting in Perpignan. Lovely evening. Ryan Boyle. Direct approach from Boyle. Milner now. And here's Lynch. Lynch bats off one, gets the pass away, went backwards, and Milner manages to keep it alive. Here is Hampshire now on this one-year-long loan deal from Jake Webster. Webster, Stewart gets a hold of him. Greg Minikin. Gale. Gale for Ryan Hampshire. Hampshire short ball for Mike McMeekin, and Basingstoke-born second rower is taken to ground. About 15 metres out. Castleford looking to respond after that Jody Broughton try for the Catalan Dragons. 4 tackles gone. Nathan Massey battling to get to his feet to play that ball. Gale puts a little grubber kick in, and Minikin, has he got that ball down? Greg Minikin, he has. Well, what a response from the Castleford Tigers. Greg Minikin, who'll be celebrating his 21st birthday tomorrow, has a try to celebrate.
Well, kicks are now almost becoming the most important part of the game. All teams can tackle, most of them can run and pass it, but the ones who kick it best very often go on to win, and it's a brilliant kick by Luke Gale. Look at what he does first. Runs the ball, attracts the defenders, and then stabs it through. Greg Minikin got on for the last 20 minutes of that game against Leeds. Did okay in that, but his confidence and his enjoyment level must be sky high at present. First try for the Tigers.
Response this from the Castleford Tigers. Had to weather a bit of storm early on. A bit of a storm just a few moments ago, but they withstood that pressure and they've come back strongly.
He's an outstanding player, Luke Gale. As I said, we got an insight into what he's thinking on the field with John Wells post-game. He spoke about looking at defenders, reacting off what the defenders do. After see this conversion, if I get a look at the replay, watch Luke Gale's eyes. He's looking at the defenders for the Catalan Dragons, and all he wants those is to stay up in the line, anticipating his pass. That's when he will drop in, as he did on there. A beautifully weighted kick.
It's almost like he's hypnotising them. Just as he gets to the line, he gives them the eye.
He won't pull the trigger until you, as the defender, have made a decision. Very smart ball player, and really playing the best rugby league of his career over these last 12, 18 months.
And Gale, his little grubber kick set up the try for Minikin. Oh, his conversion just slides wide.
You can see it here, Bill. He's looking across, and then that left foot drops the ball onto it. Minikin does very well to get in between a couple of defenders and ground the ball for a very important try. I'll say it again. The Catalan Dragons make sure they score, but they don't have to be in front for long periods of this game. They just got to make sure that the Catalan Dragons don't get confidence, don't get it well ahead of the scoreboard. It's a great position for Castleford.
6-4, the scoreline in Perpignan. And they might be battered and bruised and missing some key players, but just as they did against the Leeds Rhinos last week, the Castleford Tigers responding to the challenge, and Crooks sends Joel Monaghan away. Monaghan back on the inside to Hampshire. Oh, it looked good, but then Hampshire can't find the return pass for Monaghan.
It's a perfect example of the vision with which Darryl Powell encourages his team to play. There were 3 attackers, only 2 defenders on the short side, close to the touchline. They exploited it, took the chance, but then the pass doesn't find the man. But they've shown they play with eyes. They don't just play with a rehearsed scenario. There's a penalty awarded for a high tackle, so they get another chance here now on the back of that. Ben Crooks, is that a legitimate pass? Yes. Shown again to see if it was forward. I think not. Inside the opponent. 20.
Had a big game against Leeds. Plays the ball. Milner, Gale. Here is Solomona. Had to stretch for that pass and lost a bit of momentum. Loses a bit more momentum, courtesy of Muniz and Stewart. Here's Milner now. Massey. Bang in front of those posts. Adam Milner. Hampshire. Short ball from Hampshire to McMeekin. Louis Anderson makes sure that McMeekin can't get the pass away. Here is Hampshire. Lynch. Lynch gets the pass out, but just got his hand caught as he was offloading that ball, and Busquet was able to pounce on it. Now here's Morgan Escaray.
Well, he's enveloped, isn't he? There's no chance that they're going to go 50, 60 metres, although penalty again. We've seen a high number of penalties in the opening starts of both of these matches today.
It's a huge turnaround a period like that, isn't it? Castleford Tigers, plenty of tackles up their sleeve, ball in great position on the field. And Andy Lynch, who you know is going to offload, has one that's snapped up by the Catalan side. And Castleford compound that with the concession of a penalty. Although it's gone against them, Bill, it doesn't mean the scoreline has to now.
The monster plays the ball. Here is Remy Casti now.
Still don't think he's still not quite found the form he had before he went to the NRL. And he was one of the best front rowers in Super League. They're going wide here now with Tony Guijo, that dangerous right foot shimmy and step. Well,
Remy Casti did get a knee injury late on last season, which cost him a lot of game time. Here comes Bosk. Here's Louis Anderson, and Anderson bursting through, and Castleford Tigers powerless to stop Louis Anderson there. He hit that ball on the charge, and once he builds up a head of steam, Louis Anderson takes some stopping, and Castleford didn't have the stopping of him then. Gets his second try of the season.
Well, it's all about the power, isn't it? Few teams have a player out wide, one-on-one, with the power that Anderson's got there. He crashes through. It's just impossible, isn't it, here as he rolls it forward. Glenn Stewart, been great for them, as has Todd Carney. Played with 4 quick passes, and then they just asked the player to run as hard and strong as possible. Get the ball on the line. We need another try. It's our turn to score. He makes no mistake. The Dragons, second try, just on the line. But boy, I think they needed it.
Louis Anderson in his 5th Catalan Dragons season. And that was simple but effective. There was no frills about that, was there?
Well, you want a mismatch. You're going to get a numerical mismatch or a physical mismatch. You got Louis Anderson going at Ryan Hampshire. Ben Crooks has got to be conscious of what's happening outside him, so he can't turn in too quickly to help his inside man. He does eventually try and come in and help Hampshire, but I suppose Crooks is within his rights to expect Hampshire to slow Louis Anderson down a fraction better than he did. Although if you keep running Anderson at Hampshire, 9 times out of 10, the bigger man is going to get over, certainly so close to the line.
And this is one of the factors of this Catalan Dragons side, the size that they've got right across the field, really. And Morgan Escaray's got to be the smallest out there, otherwise they're big guys.
Well, if they want to make a difference and be a top 4 side, they need to make that size start to count. That's a perfect example of them using the size, the power to their advantage to get some points out of it.
And get 2 more points out of it from Thomas Bosk.
Well, we saw Casper with a penalty and Andy Lynch's loose offload. They concede a penalty. Catalan get this attacking position, and Louis Anderson, who has been playing closer to the middle of the field over the recent period for the Catalan Dragons, moved a little wider now. When he first started his career, wide running back rower. Hampshire won't want to see that side coming at him too many times.
In defence for Ryan Hampshire, he doesn't miss the tackle, does it? It's just that it's too close to the try line. He makes the tackle and stops the man. And he defended very well against Leeds on Thursday night. But he didn't stop the try.
I know what you mean. He gets his body, he absorbs the tackle, I suppose, more than makes an impact into Louis Anderson.
Grant Millington is on for the Castleford Tigers. There is Laurent Fresineau looking for his 50th win, his 51st win in fact. The win at Salford was his 50th. That's a knock-on. It's a penalty. Looked like a knock-on. David Taylor reprieved. Ball steals, says Ben Thaler.
Well, he'll look to get the ball away. Taylor, one of his first carries in the game today, looking for an offload, almost lost it. There will be mistakes from Dave Taylor, and there will be magical balls from Dave Taylor. Catalan just got to hope that the former outweighs the latter. I beg your pardon, I've got that the wrong way around, haven't I? Castleford Tigers will be hoping the mistakes outweigh the offloads.
One's better than the other. Here's Pelissier. Pelissier, darting run from him. He's capitalised on the absence of Paul Ayton from early on in the season. Got a good run of starts. Pelissier and Laurent Fresineau stick in with him. Gigot cuts back in field. Tony Gigot, always willing to try his luck. Gigot, the Castleford Tigers claiming he'd lost that ball as he hit the ground. Referee Ben Thaler was well positioned. They could be in for more. Anderson has dropped a second chance.
Was there a hand involved?
Ben Thaler asking for some help from his touch judge. Did that get touched by a Castleford hand before Louis Anderson could get to it?
Well, there must be some doubt, because they wouldn't be having this conversation if not. It certainly looked like there was a little flick by a Castleford player as they were going. He's actually referred it to the video referee. I think we know it's no try. It's just, is it touched? It's all about there. I think it's just touched there by Crooks, is it? Just so we should get a restart of no try, and it should be a scrum.
Does Louis Anderson kick it before it hits the ground, Stuart?
Does it hit his right hand, or is it the right thigh? That's the question they've got to look at, isn't it?
Just have a little look at what happens after. You're right about Ben Crooks hitting it.
So for it to be a kick, it must hit him between knee and toe. If it hits his thigh, then that wouldn't count.
Looks like it might have been the thigh. Oh, and then is there contact with the foot, from the thigh to the foot?
Anything else?
Stuart, I'm only saying, I'm going to say there's a chance of a try here.
Well, there is a chance of a try. For me, the fact that it hits the thigh first before it goes down would cancel it out from being a kick, so I think it's no try and scrum to Catalan.
Ben Thaler wanting Thierry Alibert, the video ref, to have another look.
Thierry, wait. Have you checked to make sure? Yeah, he doesn't. It's the first one is by Cass.
Thierry Alibert just being asked to just check whereabouts.
He's got to give this.
Well, I think he's not agreeing with the video referee, and he's asked him to have a look again. But that is the decision I would have come up with.
Scrum down, your head and ball.
Probably a bit more swiftly.
Well, he doesn't agree, does he? But
I am surprised, because one thing he's saying no try, then he's saying try, and he said no try. He said your head and ball, first knock on.
It's
knock
Catalan
on,
Dragons head and feed. It was that touch from Ben Crooks that's crucial.
Well, they've got another chance, haven't they? We've seen how dangerous the Dragons can be so close to the line. We've got some big men, some powerful ones.
Get ball over there, lads.
We've got some possession here now.
Time off. Grant, I won't start yet. Will you kick that ball off, please? Grant,
So
kick ball off, please, for me.
Pause in play.
Start yet, don't worry. Wait there.
Ben Thaler just asking Grant Millington to get rid of a second ball on the field. Head and feed to the Catalan.
And keep an eye out for the Dragons to go back to that same area, Bill. That same area of the field, their left-hand side.
Go away!
Looking for Anderson again.
Tidy Ryan. Go, one.
Here's Taylor. A step from the big man, then three of them, four of them to bring him down. Millington and Taylor wrestling. They do go that way. They're looking for Vincent Dupont, I think it is this time. Another big man in the middle of the field. Here's Muniz. Castleford taking a battering here at the moment. Relentless forwards power from the Catalan Dragons, and then they go out wide, and Tony Gigot finds a way through, but does he?
He's a magician with those feet at times.
Lost the ball. Double check, please.
Oh, dynamic movement to get away.
It's not his feet he's got to worry about. The referee thinks his hands aren't working. We'll see. You're right, Phil. He has got great footwork.
Suddenly the ball's away from him. No, he's lost that ball. He doesn't get it back. And it's not stolen. Pressure's on the arm as he goes down to score. If he loses that ball but manages to get his hand back on it before he gets to the ground, then that will be considered a try. But it's only his arm that gets back on the ball, and that is classed as not being in possession. So this will be no try, and it'll be 10 metres out to the Castleford.
Two massive moments for the Dragons here. A try disallowed on the other side of the field, a second one here to Tony Gigot. And I suppose if you want to win in Perpignan, you need to ride your luck, which is what the Tigers are doing right now. They've got to get possession here from this restart. And a chance to work way upfield. 12-4 is okay. If that gets to 18-4, I think it becomes a very big decline. They're still now clearly in this contest and playing some pretty good rugby.
It's McMeekin. A favourable penalty decision would be a real bonus for the Castleford Tigers. Crooks plays the ball. Millington ships it on. Gale Webster can't take it, and it's picked up by Carney. Has he got the legs? I think he possibly just has. Todd Carney capitalises on that handling error. Willie Mason looking as though he's sitting in an armchair on the sidelines, watching on TV, applauds.
Well, it'll be easier. It will be easier for him when he gets on if they do have a significant lead. Is Denny Solomona impeded in any way? Does Glenn Stewart fake and fall himself up, which prevents Denny Solomona from getting close to him? I don't know whether they will look at it or not again, but it seemed a strange movement from Glenn Stewart to dive on the floor.
Well, I don't suppose, I haven't seen anything yet that sort of would have that try disallowed.
Well, Greg Minikin tried very hard indeed. I thought at one point he was going to get hold of Todd Carney, but Carney just a bit further. I don't think Carney would have got there.
Well, he read the breakdown in the Castleford spread play well. It was Webster with Solomona. Webster running that hard line. Wasn't he good against Leeds, running those hard lines, forcing Leeds rhinos into defensive decisions and hard tackles, with Solomona out the back. There was a breakdown. It looked to me that the Solomona should have been getting the ball. Webster had to stretch, turn around and get it, and lost possession, which Carney swept up.
Now, with this Carney sat next to me, award a try to that Carney stood on the screen because of what Glenn Stewart did. Do you think he cheated and impeded Denny Solomona's run?
Well, Phil, we'll get a close look at it. You're right, Glenn Stewart did go down, forcing Solomona to take evasive action. It's going to be very difficult for a referee on the fly to know whether that's a genuine fall from Stewart or just clever gamesmanship.
Bosk bang in front of the post, 3 from 3 for Catalan's record point scorer.
Here's a spread play. Goes to Webster, he's reaching back, doesn't manage to clamber it in. And you see Stewart, number 11, Solomona, little tug on Stewart. Stewart goes down. Well, Stuart Cummins might be the better man to give a decision on that. Tug from Solomona. Stewart goes down on that tug, theatrically, impeding Solomona. Your decision, Stuart.
Well, I would say play on from that. Solomona's certainly got some contact in his shirt to start with. Yeah, I don't think anybody can decide whether or not that was deliberate to fall down in front of him, but the tries on the board I would have played on. I think it's a fair try.
Ooh, Millington, big hit on Viteri there.
They'll need plenty more of that. Come on. Cannot well look at this, 25 minutes in, 18-4 down, and been the architect of their own downfall after the last 2 tries. An Andy Lynch offload that was loose, that Jakes Webster loose pass. Catalan Dragons making the most of those opportunities.
Shigo getting the pass away to Casti. Catalan tails up. Paul Ayton is on, the close season signing from the Leeds Rhinos. Tore a muscle on his debut. Desperately frustrating start for him, so he's keen to make an impact. Paul Ayton, the PNG international. Here's Jason Viteri. McMeekin all over him. And then the kick's hoisted by Bosk. Solomona comes for it, grabs it despite the challenge of Escarate.
It's a great take, isn't it? A great take from Denny Solomona and the Tigers. Finding themselves repeatedly, though, picking up the ball 10 metres or so from their own try line. 90-metre asks are very tough as Greg Minikin tries now to get his team going forward.
See Remy Casti involved in that tackle, Phil. I thought we might have the first headless player in Super League. Remy Casti out there today. Joe Wardle's done a good job of loosening his head in the defeat to the Huddersfield Giants, and Logan Tompkins on Friday. Well, he went again. Almost identical tackle. And Casti's lucky to have ears, nose and mouth on his 2 shoulders.
Castleford Tigers in possession. Gale, little shimmy, but the pass was beyond the reach of Denny Solomona. Minikin retreats to gather it. Minikin keen to get the pass away. Paul McShane into action off the bench. Had an outstanding game. Everybody was outstanding against the Leeds Rhinos for the Castleford Tigers. In front of that big crowd at the Mendehoe Jungle. But there was very little time for the Tigers to enjoy it. Had to quickly find the passports, pack the bags and get on the plane to the south of France for this game against the Catalan Dragons, who lead here by 18 points to 4. They've had a great run away from home, the Catalan Dragons. They've only got the 1 win so far at home. Complete reversal of their normal season so far. Paul Ayton, Bosk, Willie Mason out of the armchair onto the field. Ayton, Carney, Puts the kick, but it's straight into the arms of Jai Hitchcocks.
Move, Glenn!
It'll be fascinating to see how much energy Castleford players have here now in this set. How many can get involved, or is it one-man efforts? Greg Minican beats the first man. In fact, be awarded a penalty here for a high slap. Is that Willie Mason? Couldn't quite get close enough to the man, so that's a relief for Castleford. They don't want to keep starting the sets of possession near to their own try line here. With Luke Gale's kick, they should be in the halfway.
Come up to the half-hour mark.
Come on, Willie, let's send that back.
Castleford Tigers with that Greg Minikin try so far. Their only points on the board, really, from their only spell of pressure on the Catalan line. They've had to do a lot of defending. Have the Tigers. Those 2 disallowed tries as well for the Catalan Dragons. Here is Denny Solomona.
A lot of those passes, though, were made with the defenders quite a distance away, so they didn't really commit or trouble them. Here they've dragged them up again, shifted it back to this side of the field. McShane, Minikin.
Casty already off the field, nursing what looks like an injury. Meanwhile, here comes Luke Gale. Looping ball over the top, finds Minikin. Crooks, lovely footwork from Ben Crooks. Stepping back in field, gets the pass away to Millington. Millington continues it on to McShane. McShane for Webster. Webster goes out wide to Greg Minikin. Minikin looking for his second try of the game. He's brought down by Broughton. McShane. Gale will kick across the field. Monaghan will grab the ball and grab the try, has he, Joel Monaghan? How did that one end up in the hands of Joel Monaghan? Stuart Cummins possibly will be involved here because was there a knock on from Castleford?
We've got no try, Thierry. When it's gone up in the air, it's come off Monaghan into a Catalan man, then bounced
back. No try
is
Ben Taylor's initial response.
Is he asking Thierry Albert or telling him?
I think there's a bit of both in that. He's certainly given no try on the field. My first look was that he put it onto his own man, who's actually behind him at that point, and then he gets it back. Well, the other question you would ask here, is he offside? If it's hitting behind him and then come forward onto him, he's technically offside then. So let's have another look at that. He catches the ball cleanly. It's onto the head of his own man, which forces it to come forward, and he's actually in front of him and plays the ball, so he's got to be offside. Monaghan's in front of him, gets the ball back off his own man. He's offside.
Surgical analysis from Stuart Cummins. But is he right? It's in the hands of Thierry Albert, the video ref.
Stood almost in a simple position. It could be given.
It's
a 50-50 call.
Replay it.
He had a freakish ability
the referee
to score
on the field
tries.
dictating to the video referee.
Give anything yet.
Ben Thaler and Thierry Albert in perfect harmony.
That's not what's meant to happen. The video referee is meant to make the decision after having it handed up by the on-field referee.
It's definitely in the cast man's hands.
He's now talking to him again.
So if it's in the cast man's hands, then it touches
Stuart,
the man
this
in
is
front.
not how it's meant to operate.
It's not. You hand it on, you let go. He's offside. But it's clear as anything on there. It's come off McMeekin forward to Monaghan.
I know we can all
There should be no try.
I know.
Well, Joel Monaghan claiming potentially his second try in Castleford Tigers colours. Ben Thaler.
Are you giving a try, Thierry?
Waiting to get the decision from Thierry Albert. And what a lifeline this could be if it's awarded. It is.
Well, that's the wrong decision. That's the wrong decision.
I'll tell you what's no good. Don't ask me from Ben Thaler. He's hanging his video referee out to try, Stuart.
There's nothing else we can do about it. I know.
Hey, I know you had the problems with the man at box.
Todd Carney
One we thought was a try there, so you've cost us one.
is fair. Only fair what Todd Carney's saying.
He's in the truck. We give our on-field decision. He has then got to have evidence. He's saying he has got evidence to overrules on both occasions. I can't do all about that, mate.
Well, he's made a decision on the field on what he believes has happened. Todd Carney's arguing that he thought he was a try down one end, and then disallowed the try at the other end, and the video referees overruled it. That is the system. You make a call on the field. I would also say that once it's passed on to the video referee, the on-field referee should stay quiet and let him do his job. What comes back, comes back. If you want to make the decision on the field, make it yourself.
Well, the decision was a try for Joel Monaghan. Here it is again.
Well, he's brilliant in the air, Joel Monaghan. Brings it down, McMeekin's head gets in the way, ball squirts up, but Monaghan never takes his eye off the ball, reels it back in and crashes over. That's his biggest attacking weapon. As he slows down, as he will as he gets older, a kick to Monaghan will still remain a big threat and a big outlet for the Castleford Tigers attack.
Well, he had a freakish ability, didn't he, to score almost a try a game for the majority of his career, and he hasn't lost that in that situation. Got to ride your luck. An 18-10 here now is obviously, having conceded those tries, they've done particularly well here, Castleford, to defend the line, ride the luck, and get to within 5 or 6 minutes or so of half-time with themselves very close to opponents.
Of course, Luke Gale added the extras there to narrow the scoreline. Well, what goes round comes round. They'll look back to last February when Denny Solomona had that try outrageously disallowed for offside when he was...
They will not be complaining in Castleford right now. In fact, they'll be delighted, Phil. This game is very much there for them. Just need to bring a bit of spark. I know they like to throw the ball around, and Phil's right to reference Darryl Powell the way he wants to play, but I wouldn't mind seeing them get through a few sets over the next few minutes.
Catalan a bit rattled by that. Feeling hard done by. Thomas Bost, McMeekin bats him away, and Dupour and Anderson then have to bring down the Tigers' second rower. Man of the match in that win over the Rhinos. Then Hampshire hoists that kick. Escaré, time underneath the ball. But it's a good line from the Tigers.
If you were simply measuring enthusiasm and energy at the moment, you'd probably say the Tigers have got more than their opponents. They're getting back, the keen, the fast, not just the result of that try. I think at times Catalan this season have faded at the start of first halves and second halves. They need to up it a little bit here. They're looking a little vulnerable, I think.
Tony Gigo trying to use his footwork to prise open the Tigers' defence. Paul Ayton then. Ayton goes off on a run. But Jason Battieri slipped as he went into the tackle. On the last now, and Carney gets the kick up. Gets a tackle as well, which he objected to. I think there's something going on in back play as a result of that. There is. There you go.
Well,
Carney didn't like the tackle.
No, the kicker very often takes offence at the challenge and then gets awarded a penalty.
I don't think it was the kicker that took offence. I think it was his teammate. Well, see, Carney's the kicker. Nathan Massey comes in. I think Gigo then.
I think Todd Carney's also pushing him down, isn't he?
Luke Gale comes in.
So you end up now getting a penalty awarded when there perhaps wouldn't have been if there'd been no involvement. So you probably should penalise the Dragons.
Yeah, well, I mean, he stopped the game. The play the ball still up the other end of the field. I haven't seen anything in there that warrants a penalty. There's a couple of players pushing and shoving, but that's about it. So it'll be interesting to see how he restarted. I don't think there's a penalty in there. I think we go back and we have first play the ball to Castleford.
It's been a busy game for Ben Thaler. What with one thing and another. And now he's just trying to defuse the situation here. It wasn't that late from Massey on Todd Carney, in fact.
I'm going to pull them out, have a word with them, both captains, to calm it down.
But Todd Carney was obviously frustrated by that Joel Monaghan try decision, wasn't he? And I think that's probably still festering in there.
Come here. Captain from both sides.
Well, he's going to speak to both captains, obviously concerned about you know, what's been going on, trying to calm him down.
Listen, he's committed. Right, we've called that. We've then got to push him to... I haven't got one single foul. Luke. Listen, I haven't got one single foul. Right, so I'm going to go and play the ball back there. But listen to me. I do not need, when we've got players playing on, I don't need you then running near the back because then we end up with a load of rubbish. So I'm going to go up there. Sort your lads, sort it out. He's looked at it and he said there's no in it. So that's fine. So
well, they'll go back to that play the ball, and eventually play will resume. It's been a stop-start first half. It's dragged out. It hasn't. There's been some nice play periodically, but there's been a lot of. I think Ben Thaler used the word rubbish.
I'll tell you what, Van Castleford, I'm pretty happy with this.
Back on.
Although 8 points behind, If they can keep a scoreline like that going into half-time, I think Darryl Powell wouldn't complain too much, Phil.
I agree, it's been fragmented first half, but I think as the game was on here now, the Tigers probably look the fitter, fresher
3 move, Jason!
team here. They've played more rugby and I think they've got more points in them.
Good.
18-10, the scoreline. Millington does well there because he was confronted by a couple of Catalan defenders, but he still managed to get the pass away. Mason, Ayton drags him off. Here is Grant Millington again. Ran Andy Lynch very close in the Tigers Player of the Year awards last year. And the touch judge is on. More scrappiness or scrapping, what was it?
Millington, fabulous player, Bill. Came close, as you say, Player of the Year. But
Not a bad, but some penalty.
an excellent player.
Taylor's forearm, the culprit there. Taylor with his forearm.
This has got 18-16 written all over the half-time score at the moment, hasn't it? When you think the Tigers could have almost been out of it, this kick to touch here gives them a wonderful opportunity. They have some nice little trick shots up the sleeve. Maybe they'll bring one out right now.
Wait here, fellas. Wait!
Luke Gale, the ringmaster, calling the shots, telling his men where he wants them.
Move, David! Wait, mate. Wait, don't worry.
Will Mayer will play the ball about 15 metres out. Millington, here is Gale now, holds the ball up for Solomona. Solomona, lovely pass. Minikin gets his second of the game. What was that? 18-16, we could be on for that. It's 18-14 now. And Minikin cannot believe it. What a 21st birthday it's going to be if he carries on in this vein.
Well, I was expecting the swing-back switch play where they go to the other side of the field, but not for the Tigers. No, they know Minikin's on fire at the moment. And this fullback, what a great offload. That's good skill there. Soft hands by Minikin to take in a chance. You've got to turn half chances into 4 points if you want to win some big games in Super League, and they've done that right here. Wonderful second try from the left centre.
Tell you what, I know they lose a great passing game when Luke Gale isn't playing at fullback, but Solomona has shown up there. Strong run and a brilliant offload to his man outside. Well, I thought 8 points down wouldn't be a bad result at half-time for the Catalan Dragons, or for the Castleford Tigers. Lauren Fraser knew. Might have been upset at that. Well, now he'll be absolutely furious going in at half-time.
Well, furious about a number of things. Probably that Joel Monaghan try will have infuriated him, but also to allow the Tigers to be this close when you could have said bye-bye in that first half.
But it was very reminiscent of the game they played against Warrington, where they faded in the last 10 minutes of that period. Luke Gale's now got an important kick at goal here. It's a difficult one, about 8 metres in from the sideline, just getting himself ready. Goes through his normal routine.
Luke Gale approaching a landmark for the Castleford Tigers. 300 goals kicked. But Gale, a lot of asked of Luke. A lot is asked of Luke Gale, I should say.
Well, without Ben Roberts, Bill, he's got to take Ryan Hampshire through his early stages.
And he's on target with that one. And Phil Clark was bang on.
Well, Grant Millington, great ball playing forward. He starts the play, and Minikin ends it, courtesy of a brilliant Solomona offload. The Catalan Dragons, it's the big question mark you have against this multi-talented side. The squad, they switch off in games, and they don't go 1 to 80. You'll always have a chance against the Catalan Dragons. You can actually determine whether or not they're up for it. You can dictate that. Rarely do they impose themselves. For such a talented team, rarely do they impose themselves, although Dave Taylor's going way towards addressing that.
He's not a happy man, Dave Taylor.
Well, this is an opportunity for them to take out any frustrations they may feel with the decisions and how the game's gone. Make an impact with the defence. Some good strong tackles here now.
Get the ball!
And we'll get to see just how much enthusiasm they've got when it's their turn to run with the ball. They shift it wide, no. Held in the middle. Mason and Taylor on the last tackle.
Hold! Go!
And McShane. Deep kick. Escaray retrieves.
One, move, Richard! Ready. Wait!
Just to follow on your point about Luke Gale and no Ben Roberts with him, Bill, and a lot does come on his shoulders. Spoke earlier about Hampshire having a running game. Roberts does bring that passing outlet, that element of leadership alongside Gale in the middle of the field. Roberts expected to be back shortly, but this time playing alongside Luke will have helped Ryan Hampshire in his career.
Jason Bateri taken high.
Jake!
Stern look on the face of Ben Thaler, the referee.
Well, with an important 2 minutes just less actually now here. We've got a penalty which should get the Dragons into the opponent's half, and we'll see just what they've got left in attack, really. They've had some big players running strong, but they've got 6 players, well over 60 seconds here now, to extend the lead if they've got the creativity, the skill, and the timing, which hasn't really been present in the first half.
Get here! Help! Get here!
Of course, Richie Myler out for this one of a number of Catalan players missing, a whole host of Castleford players missing.
Back here, Paul.
But that's the story of the Easter weekend, of course. Some battered and bruised bodies out there, and Castleford Tigers have got to regroup. They've got the Huddersfield Giants next up at home.
That Millington's miles off.
And that's a penalty. Ben Thaler's telling him, you've got to calm down.
Wait, Paul.
Need to get him in at half-time before the coal train runs off the tracks. Here is Willie Mason, and Mason using his strength, or trying to use it, to force his way over the line.
Wait, boys, wait, go.
Ayton, Carney, Thomas Bosk now, Bosk for Tony Gigo, and Gigo has he got this one down. Denny Solomona has got a bang on his knee. The referee says he's held up, and Tony Gigo is denied again.
Well, Phil said he's got magic feet, he's not wrong. Puts himself in a great position to score the try. He dropped one over the line before, following a great shuffle. Has some more great footwork and can't ground it. Compliments to the Castleford Tigers defence there. That looked a certain try.
Here we see have a word with Dynamo, doesn't he? Because he's got the feet but not the hands at the moment.
Webster gets in, wraps himself around. Does he slide his thighs underneath? Oh, and then Solomon. Ooh. Solomona contributes as well. It's Webster's tackle
on the thigh.
That's Jake Webster's tackle. That is brilliant. Conceded a penalty when he swung high on Battieri. Brilliant Jake Webster tackle.
Jake Webster having a new lease of life, and you think he was close to hanging his boots up because he had a wretched run of injury troubles a couple of years ago. And yet here he is.
Unusual to stop the game for so long for a player with a non-threatening injury there.
Play continues for the Catalan Dragons. Last minute of this first half. Here's Paul Ayton now. Ayton trying to burrow his way through.
Get here, boys, come on!
Looking for a quick play the ball. Here's Escaray. Escaray gets the pass away to Duport. Duport gets the pass away to Escaray, and Escaray gets the final points of this first half. Don't know how Vince Duport got the pass away, but Escaray was alert to it. And on his return to the side, Morgan Escaray increases the Catalan lead.
Well, the Dragons just had to score here. Somehow they needed, I think, for their own mental sanity at half-time break, they needed a greater than 2-point advantage with the way the game had gone and how they'd played. And Vincent Duport's a powerful man, gets the ball alive, and just as we saw with Minikin, it's a good catch and put down from the French fullback Morgan Escaray. He wraps around, follows the ball, stays alive, and gives his team a try just as the half-time hooter sounds.
A really good defensive read from Joel Monaghan, but really poor execution. If he's going to come in, he decided to come in. Great decision to help Mike McMeekin. He's got to be concentrating on the ball, wrap the ball. He's big enough to wrap the ball up on Duport. Instead, he swings over the shoulders, leaving Duport's arm free to offload the ball to the supporting Morgan Escaray. Again, great decision to come in. Poor execution from an experienced player like Joel.
I think there was some afters. We didn't see it at happened off camera, but I think there was more disagreement between some of the players after that try.
Anyway, in Perpignan, look what's coming next weekend, Friday and 2 on Saturday. Wigan against Warrington, live from the DW, Friday night, 7:30, Sky Sports 2. Sky Sports 2 on Saturday for Wakefield against Salford, two clubs who have had a pretty decent Easter, 2:45. And then on Saturday evening, the Catalan Dragons again, they entertain the Widnes Vikings, who haven't had the best of Easters. 5 minutes to 5 on Sky Sports 3. That's next weekend. Coming up now, though, the second half from Perpignan, where the Catalan Dragons lead the Castleford Tigers by 22 points to 16. The late try from Morgan Escaray, absolutely vital maybe for the Dragons. Out come the Castleford Tigers, hoping for better in the second half. Darryl Powell, their coach, the last man out of the dressing room. Okay, the sun is setting in Perpignan. Looks like a lovely evening, so let's go and rejoin our commentary team. Brian Carney, Phil Clark, and first of all, it's Bill Arthur.
The Castleford Tigers' last win at Stade Gilbert Brutus was in March 2010, when Terry Mattison's side edged a 2016 victory. They are by no means out of the reckoning in Perpignan, although Willie Mason seems to have the appetite for a big second half. It's been an eventful game for referee Ben Thaler. More of that later, perhaps. But the Catalan Dragons just breathing a little bit easier after that Morgan Escaray try right at the end of the first half, pushed their lead out to 22 points to 16, but battling first half performance from this Castleford Tigers side, shorn of some key first choice players. So don't rule them out. Very, very obstinate, determined team, the Castleford Tigers.
Well, over the last 10 years of watching the Dragons in the south of France, you very often see games that end up 38-36 or 40 points to 42. The tight finishes and high-scoring games, and this has the potential to finish just in that same manner here today. Both these teams with an element of fatigue from the previous game, and willing to throw the ball around and score some points. First kick again, though. His kicks were very good in the first half. That one's played out and charged down.
Oh, and Bosca's knocked that one on, I think. Ramp for the ball.
His team are going to get the ball back again. Was it the first one? It came off a Catalan player, but the referee said it hadn't been played at, and Thomas Boss couldn't pick it up. Mike McMeekin tries to kick it, toe it through. There then. Where's the knock on?
Yeah, it's there. He's not in possession of it, and he's rolled the ball towards him. If he gets hold of it and pulls it back, he'd be fine. But the fact that he's rolled the ball on the ground and it goes back towards the opposition's goal line, that's classed as a knock-on.
So, Castleford Tigers will get head and feed at this scrum.
Tom Holmes looks like he's going to feed the scrum, doesn't it? Introduced at half-time.
Out.
Another one of the young players, 20-year-old Tom Holmes. Actually made his debut last year against the Catalan Dragons last May.
Well, with him and Ryan Hampshire, it's a pretty young half-back player, isn't it? Inexperienced. This will be an amazing achievement if those two on the field they can come from behind here in the second half.
Millington ships the ball on. Luke Gale is still out there. And Minikin, the first half hero for the Castleford Tigers, picks it up and brings it back towards halfway. Massey now. The crowd at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. It's subdued at the moment. Good Castleford Tigers contingent out there, spending their Easter weekend in Perpignan. Here is Minikin, confidence growing. Thought about trying to smuggle that ball out. That's the fifth tackle. Look for Gale's kick maybe. Gale running it, batted down, and Gigo will pick it up. And it's a good job that Nathan Massey got a hold of Tony Gigo there.
So much of that play is exactly what Castleford Tigers need to do. Shift the ball around, move Catalan from side to side, but Luke Gale's first two kicks of this second half haven't been anywhere close to the standard he's capable of. Indeed, the standard he needs to hit. Needs to finish the sets better, making it difficult for his side.
Here is Louis Anderson, first half try scorer for the Catalan Dragons. The crowd finding their voice, and Willie Mason finding some leg drive. That's the 5th tackle. And the lazy boots of the ball, and it's well gathered. Jai Hitchcox it was underneath that one. Here's Joel Monaghan, controversial first half try from Monaghan.
I think the Tigers look like the better side in the first half again now. Lethargic effort really there. They kicked the ball high in the air, 1 or 2 chased it, not many afterwards.
I watched the Catalan Dragons against Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, and it was very much, you almost had to prod them to get them into the game. They went ahead and it looked like they were going to win it easily, and Wakefield said, well, we'll just have a go here. Came back, scored a few tries, and that sort of sparked the Catalan Dragons into action. And that's the criticism I have of them. Such a big squad, such a talented squad. They should be dominating sides.
Escaray gathers that deep kick from Luke Gale before it could turn into a 40-20. Here's Carney now. Jody Broughton. The opening try of the game. And Shane and Will Mayer stopping his progress. Fuad Yaha. This 19-year-old winger. Now Vincent Duport. 4 tackles gone. Bosk. Carney. Gigot, but Gigot quickly closed down. Good work from Minikin again. Stewart gets the pass away. David Taylor, lovely kick ahead from the big man. And then Gale collects the ball.
Well, there isn't a great deal of control, is there? It's made up as they go along, and they put the ball through the kick. There was a high kick previous set. That was a risky grubber kick through with a low percentage chance of getting the ball back, and it's a poor start to the second half, and the 6-point lead, 6 minutes almost gone. Remy Casti looks like he won't play any more part today here. Jake Webster and his team look to be winning the enthusiasm battle.
It was critical of Luke Gale's first 2 kicks, but his defensive chase back on Thomas Boss, last tackle play, was exceptional.
Jai Hitchcox, good run from him. Good pace from the Castleford Tigers in this attack. Here's Ben Crooks, and it was a good job that Bosk had a hold of him, because Crooks could have been through there. Tom Holmes, Luke Gale now. Gale, lovely footwork from Gale. Gale, it's opened up, and there was referee Ben Taylor will bring him back for
forward pass. It is forward pass, yeah. The pass from Gale.
The defence from the Catalan Dragons, though, they walked around a few of them. It was so early in the game, a very low standard. It's sadly for the Tigers, it looks as though Dennis Solomona, injured towards the end of the first half, doesn't look like he'll feature again if they've got ice on the right knee.
Oh, that's bad news. Luke Dorncroft, his very able deputy, iced up with a knee problem.
If you cast your mind back to Tony Gigo's no try, it was Jacobs' tackle, but Solomona's leg was caught inside. It looked to have been extended badly. They've assessed that at half-time. Felt that can't risk it, can't afford to. They're down on troops, and rest is the better part of valor.
If the enthusiasm is going to determine the winner here tonight, I'd say I put all my money on the Castleford Tigers, because it's been a far better start to the second half. They've been looked better without and with the ball. This team really look up here to try and take 2 points back on the play this evening.
Busquet plays the ball, and Bosk puts the kick in. Nice one down the middle of the field. Hampshire is back there, Hitchcox as well.
Hampshire slots into fullback. Seen him play there for Wigan.
Good work from Hitchcox, goes round the outside, gets the pass back infield to Minikin. Minikin, puff for the cheeks. Eventually he's stopped by Carney, Bateri and Escaray. Good counter from Castleford. Look at the ground they've made already. Here's Webster. Feels right, there's great enthusiasm from this Castleford side. Holmes. Now Ben Crooks, but Crooks is heading for the sidelines, and he's over the sideline. And that was enthusiasm from the Catalan Dragons for a change.
Well, they needed someone. Vincent Duport was the man who came up to stop Ben Crooks. Looked like he'd split the line earlier a few minutes ago. This time, taking ball and all and head on the line. That means he's out of play. The French side are desperate for somebody to inject some energy into the team. Sometimes a play like that can do it. Dave Taylor's off on the side, he's taking a breather. And it looks like too many of the Dragons want to take a breather. Willie Mason's averaged 25 minutes when he's played in the 5 games so far this season. One or two of them may need to play a little bit more.
Keep it as we are. Okay. Right there, Tom. Stand, boys! Stay there, Tommy.
Still waiting for the first points of this second half. 22-16 the scoreline. Here is Willie Mason.
It's a long time, isn't it?
What reputation?
A long time, I suppose, in his career before since he was last picked up and pushed, dumped back. That was he now runs off to the side to swap places with somebody else.
And Busquet has got a bang on the neck there.
I think it was pressure on the back of the neck as he was going down in the tackle. Just sometimes it's unfortunate. Just down the back there.
What they look for is if the defender, Mike McMeekin, now would be the one under scrutiny, has left enough space for Busquet to get his head out, but if he's used his hips and his body to trap the head and neck, Stuart, of Busquet in there, that's when you could have trouble.
Well, that's
the match review committee look at it.
You probably saw that last shot there. His head was just trapped in there before he allowed the head to be released out of the way. It's this putting him on the ground there and then pushing down, and then the head releases. Ideally, you want to leave a bit of space for the head to come out in that situation. So it's not pleasant.
And not always intentional.
Not always intentional.
That's a point worth making. It's not always intentional. Players have used it to actually endanger other players. And thankfully, the game has clamped down on that, but sometimes accidents happen in this game.
Well, here is Busquet again, and McMeekin again getting to grips with him. Those two having a good battle. Here is Escaré now. Escaré, this is what he does best. A little skip, a little step, and Morgan Escaré is in for his second try. Welcome back to Super League, Morgan Escaré. That's what he's renowned for. That's what he's been renowned for.
Well, the Dragons have got two great players who can play at fullback. Tony Guijo has shown us the start of this season what he can do, and Morgan Escaré, with that competitive nature, has managed to get his hands on the ball here and split through between the centre and winger, and then you just know that sidestep coming. Everyone knows it's almost impossible to stop when he's travelling at such speed. They've looked flat, they've looked down, but this guy has just about picked them up. Vincent Dupont came up with the important tackle, and Morgan Escaré has complemented it with an even better try.
The last try of the first half, first try of the second half, both to Escaré. And you're right, Phil. Once Hampshire's going across, he's got both sides exposed. And Escaré with a little shimmy steps inside, goes close to the posts. Big confidence boost to that, Phil, because that's been quite a fall from grace for that talented individual.
Yeah, it was hard to fathom last season, having hit the heights in 2014 when he got 29 tries. Previous year he'd been one of the top young players, and then last year just faded to the point that Catalan kept him out of the firing line at the start of this year.
And firing line is an appropriate description, Bill. I think it's his defensive frailties, actual or perceived, that saw him lose his place. Tony Gigot, and I'm a fan of his attacking ability, as Phil certainly is. Gigot himself is no great shapes defensively. He's no solid defender, no more solid, I think, than Escaré. It's probably his physical size that gets him pushed in ahead of the number 21. But attacking, there's very little to choose between the two of them.
We should have expected that from Escaré, because he's scored tries in the last 4 home games against the Castleford Tigers, and he's maintained that run with this one.
Well, he loves to do this. It was a hallmark when he first burst into Super League, wasn't it? Getting the ball out wide whilst travelling quicker than the defenders, and then using his acceleration and superior speed allied to that change of direction. And all of a sudden, his team are starting to smile. It's high fives and hand clapping going around. We've got a significant 12-point lead. I think the Tigers are the team who must score next, but they've got lots of time to do it. Like the better side at the start of the second half.
They were in this situation in the first half and they dug themselves out of the hole. Can they dig it again?
Well, sometimes the Dragons are guilty of handing their opponents the shovel to help themselves dig way back out into the match. They're trying to play a more controlled style, aren't they? They just 5 drives, downfield and kick, but they don't seem to have the enthusiasm to chase some of their kicks that other teams in Super League have shown.
Jason Botteri. It's the pass away to Anderson. Here's Vincent Dupont now. Ben Crooks standing firm there. Dupont steps over him to play the ball. Busquet. Will Mayer and Nathan Massey making the tackle, and then Bosk hoists that one. That is a very high kick, but Ryan Hampshire sound and solid underneath it, and Louis Anderson stops his progress.
A great take. Footsteps coming. Had to be very brave and very strong with his technique. Moving in position, moving different positions inside a game is difficult. From the halves to full back. He accomplishes it with ease at that time.
It's Joel Monaghan with the first run, and then Sir Minikin. McShane. Holmes now. We're going wide with Ben Crooks, and Crooks can't get the pass away. He to keep the ball alive and finds McMeekin.
Good play by the Tigers. They saw a compressed defence in front, shifted it wide, tested their opponents, bring it back to the middle here now for Luke Gale, kick into the corner.
The ball though sits up nicely, and here is Escaré. They won't allow him much latitude on this occasion. Bosk, Carney now. Here's Jody Broughton.
Phil's spoken about the controlled way in which Catalan Dragons are playing. You'd like, Phil, out of all the sides in Super League, they have the personnel to play a much more expansive game. I'd love to see Glenn Stewart ball play a little more. I see him doing an awful lot of defence, but I don't think there's many better ball-playing forwards in Super League than Glenn Stewart. And his stats, I mean, for passing the ball are down, way down on what you'd think it'd be.
Yeah, and that's where his teams are going. They're going with the familiar players. Fuad Yah takes it forward.
Yaha bounces off the first one. Jake Webster left on the ground by the big young winger. Carney kicks crossfield. We'll go for this. Oh, it's brave take by Hitchcock because he got ball and all there.
Well, at least they're no chasing and contesting the kicks. The crowd have got a little excited, and so have Glenn Stewart and co. You're right, defensively he's been outstanding, but maybe Laurent Fressignou and the Dragons haven't found the best way to get the most out of the players they've got available in the squad. I don't know whether they're complementing one another. He has a dilemma which hooker to have on the field and how long to have them on between Paul Ayton and Eloi Polissier. I think those are the things that they have to work out very quickly, because we're not seeing the best, I believe, that the Catalan Dragons have to offer this competition.
Oh, Gale was wishing and hoping that he could have got the pass out there, but Millington was wrapped up. Gale's gone for 40-20, and Fuad Yaha, slight nonchalance from the winger there before he retrieves the ball.
See where the Tigers are. They'll back themselves with a patient approach, put their opponents under pressure. Very good keen chase. People like Andy Lynch now ticking the line forward. Morgan Escaré tested to see whether he can do the work at this end that he can in attack near their opponent's try line.
Lynch all over Escaré there, making sure that he didn't make any progress. Gigot trying to force his way through. Broughton. A few more yards for his new club. Fourth Super League side, Jody Broughton. Carney. Little dummy from Todd Carney, but Jake Webster brings him down. That's the fifth tackle. Bosk did well to step out of trouble there, but his kick right into the waiting arms of Ryan Hampshire, and then Hampshire finds Minikin. Minikin looking for somebody. Eventually, Jai Hitchcock arrives, and Hitchcock, oh, he was away down that side, but couldn't keep a hold of the ball. And Catalan have it back.
Well, they've ended up with a decent result, but I was just about to say that the kick and the net result wasn't what you'd expect from a team that aimed to be in the top four. Thomas Boss was rushed, he found it, kick went in the poor corner. They made 20-30 metres on the return, but they've lost the possession, and another try for the Dragons would well give them the 2 points that they're desperate for here in this match.
Here is Julien Bousquet. Catalan leading 28 points to 16. Carney fires the pass on to Escaré. Milner makes the tackle for the Castleford Tigers. 10 metres out with Carney. Leisurely across the field. Anderson steps away first and bounces off the second. And then there's a Castleford hand in there. That was a real break for Catalan Dragons. Unfortunate for the Castleford Tigers. Just a little nudge of a Tiger's hand, and they've got another set of 6 of the Catalan Dragons. And can they make them pay? Carney fancies a second, and he'll get it. And Todd Carney, well, he's having his best run in the side after that injury-bedevilled season last year. Here's the Hitchcock's incident.
Such a shame for them, wasn't it, that they lost possession there on that first play, and then the referee said 6 more. Tom Holmes got his hands on the ball, and we've just seen, well, I think he's just about grounded it. The referee said I won't take a second opinion on this one. Mike McMeekin grounds him short of the line, he rolls over, and just probably at that position there's a grounding of the ball.
Well, McMeekin had a claim that he was impeded to an extent. That's why he was late getting across to tackle Todd Carney. A little shout out to all the reindeers back in Oz. But Carney, options outside him. And as I said, McMeekin struggling to get across, make the tackle. Carney was always going to beat him on the outside.
Worth an ask of the video ref?
Well, the referee was in a very good position, so must have been convinced that the ball had been grounded. There was a little bit of doubt about, you know, whether he actually got it down in the end, but like I say, the referee's right in front of it, and their job is to give the try if they see it.
Third try of this campaign for the 2010 Dally M Player of the Year, Todd Carney. Like I said, this is 8th game in a row, his best sequence in Catalan colours. And Thomas Bosch, who kicked 6 goals against the Castleford Tigers in a big win last August at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. I'm looking for 2 more points in this one. Bosch is on target. And the Catalan Dragons could be on target to the points here because they're having the better of this second half.
Well, some people think that Todd Carney will win the Man of Steel award at the end of this year. In fact, at the start of the season, he was my guess. I've not seen enough in the matches so far to make me think he'll win it individually. But coming up with players like that, at moments like that, in matches like we have today, go a significant way to determining the big players in this competition. He scored when his team needed to. They're not playing at their best, but they probably, with a 34-16 lead, got just about enough with 20 or so to go on and pick up 2 points, and it was instrumental and is influential in him getting involved in doing that right then.
It's a big first half from the Castleford Tigers, and they got back that Escaré try. The more you look at it now, that was crucial, right on the half-time bell after the Castleford Tigers had done all that work.
Yeah, you thought they would go in with a much healthier half-time scoreline, but this is the period now, Bill. Do the Catalan Dragons kick on here? Do they grow an extra leg? Do they play with the ability that they have on the field? Or do they cough up the ball, make a mistake, and give Castleford Tigers a chance in this game? Because, I mean, a score will rattle the Catalan Dragons. A score the other way, and you may see Castleford start thinking about home.
And Bosch, time for him to pick his spot, which is an open space just in front of those Tigers posts. Jai Hitchcock's former West Tigers player, and just 4 appearances for them before coming to the UK.
I think Brian Point's a good one here. The Dragons now have 20 minutes in which to start to inflict some fear on opponents who will have to travel there for the rest of this season. Nothing they've done at home this year has really worried teams. Everyone thinks we've got a chance if we play well, we can win in the south of France. But I think now, starting to inflict some pain, making the scoreboard go even further in their favour, could well be the determining factor in their season. They've not been brilliant for the first 7 rounds. They've got Widnes next weekend, and I know that Dennis Betts and the Vikings are tuned into this right now, watching to see what the competitors next week have got in them.
Widnes licking their wounds after that defeat by St Helens, as Webster puts the kick in and then gets a hold of Jody Broughton. The winger having to be brave there as Webster closed down on him. Here's Escarine bouncing along, lolloping. Now Fouad Yaha, slightly different approach from the winger. Escarine has certainly made the most of the opportunity afforded him by the injuries in the Catalan side. Terry, Catalan dominating possession in this second half.
And that's been a feature of the play, hasn't it, where the half-back has just turned it back inside to a forward. They've kept the ball in the centre of the field, control the roll forward, and then shifted later in the play. That's the pass that Brian's looking for. Pelissier and Ayton both on the field at the same time. Maybe we'll see those spark right now.
There is Ayton. Carney, well, going for 1 point and then knocked on by Muniz. Ooh, and Jake Webster felt that.
It was a low blow, wasn't it? Does it get off the floor? Not much. Ooh. So that would be play on at that point. Is that back to 6 plays that they've wasted?
Yeah, because Greg Muniz couldn't pick it up.
I'd like to see if he's hit a worse one in his career. That's a shocker.
Strange decision.
Oh, I agree. It ties in with the point of what the Catalan Dragons are looking to do. I understand it's the Easter period. I understand there's fatigue. Both of these sides have had to travel across the water to get here to play. Catalan Dragons away to Salford, and of course Castleford travelling from their home base. And I understand the fatigue will play its part, but I do want to see the Catalan Dragons, if they are to have a charge this season Super League.
Here's Minikin. Sorry, Brian. Minikin, I thought he was away for his hat-trick.
He won't get past Guijo.
Hitchcock's might. Oh, coolness from Jody Broughton. Eventually, Broughton's not tackled, says the referee, so he continues for another few metres.
Brian, the Dragons going for the 1-pointer. Is that symptomatic that they just sort of make it up as they go along?
I think it's rolling towards a conclusion, Phil. I think they're looking for a scoreline. The clock to tick to 80. We see this break and tackle in the end. Minikin, who's shown up well in this game. He's got himself a couple of tries, finished well. He's looked strong in the tackle as well.
Penalty awarded here anyway.
I think Catalan Dragons will be looking towards the clock, Phil, and not thinking that this is a chance for us to post further points and impose ourselves more. I'm not on just this game, but on Super League.
Scrappy sequence here, back-to-back penalties against the Tigers.
Well, we haven't had a penalty for 20-odd minutes, have we, since the half-time break, and then we get 2 in succession here. And they've tried very hard, but this third quarter of the game's rolled away from them. A dangerous tackle on Pelissier. Eventually, it's picked up.
Looking a bit weary, the Castleford Tigers. Big effort against Leeds last Thursday night.
Move, Ryan! Come on,
and here they are up against the Catalan Dragons, who are always a tough prospect on home soil. Haven't been quite so tough so far this season. Hull won here. Warrington did. Oh, nice work from Muniz. But he can't ground that ball, Greg Muniz.
Away, boys, get
and Castleford do well to drive him back.
Andy, get up.
Right on that try line.
Well done, Ryan Hampshire.
Louis Anderson, he's lost that ball. And Paul Ayton dives over. Has he got it down?
Well, it will be amazing, won't it? They've kept the ball alive, but the Tigers' goal line defence is admirable. They've done everything they possibly can to prevent a try. The referee doesn't think they have.
It's not knocked on originally when the ball flies back.
Looked a big try. Look, ball's offloaded backwards by Louis Anderson, picked up and handed off. We'll see here.
Yeah, he's just looking for a knock on. That's what he's asked for. As the ball goes back, there's nothing wrong there. It's always going backwards from Catalan. Straight in. Does he get the ball on the ground? Well, he's awarded the try, so he must think so.
Quick play, isn't it, from Thomas Bosk here. When it comes back, he gets down low, picks it up, flicks it straight into the hands of soft pass for Paul Ayton, who dives hard at the line. You just need to put the ball on the line. It doesn't have to go over it.
Right.
And this is going to be confirmed as another try.
But we haven't seen anything yet that shows the ball on the line. Perhaps at that point it may well be. The try is awarded.
The try is awarded, and that could be the one that sees off the gallant Castleford Tigers. Paul Ayton getting his second try in Catalan colours. The former Leeds Rhinos hooker. And the Catalan Dragon supporters can breathe a little bit easier now.
Well, Anderson had a try disallowed, didn't he, in that first half? And he is a threat running out on the left. Castleford did enough to stop him, but once the ball was flicked back, play was broken up, and the advantage would always be with the attacking side.
Well, the Dragons supporters will look at the league table after this match finishes. I think we've picked up 4 points over Easter. We play Widnes at home next week. And in a season when things haven't gone well, we haven't looked like a top side, we've just had a period here where they started to build, they'll find themselves climbing up the ladder. And their ultimate aim obviously has to be, I think, the benchmark to be a top 4 side by the time we get to round 23. These 2 wins, and possibly one next week, will go a long way to helping them achieve that goal.
Thomas Bosk, forward to his name so far. Another 2 points, and the Catalan Dragons extend their advantage.
It's not great attacking play though, is it? The basic to just power the way over the line from close range. It's not they've had any fluency really with some brilliant scintillating backline play where they've moved the ball wide and outflank or outpace their opponents. They're just diving onto the line, literally, just doing enough.
Are we being a bit unfair to the Catalan Dragons? I mean, they're doing what's needed. They're winning the game. St Helens were very pragmatic in their performance against the Widnes Vikings, and I know the commentators there were saying, oh, it's, you know, this isn't vintage Saints, but it's doing what's needed.
Louis, you're in the wrong side. Time off.
Just look at Louis Anderson packing the wrong side for the scrum. Effort to disrupt them. To answer your question, Bill, I think they're a disappointment because of the talented players they have out there available to them. They're not racked with injuries in the Catalan Dragons team.
I don't think they take it seriously enough, Brian. I honestly don't. Louis Anderson going into the second row there of the post is an example where at times it might just feel like a good laugh.
Time's off, mate. Yeah, time's off. Boys, get bound.
Well, Luke Gale and Jason Pateri managing to share a laugh there. You've got to smile at times.
Out! I wish it was.
They don't seem to have a ruthless streak that other teams have had, though, when they've been in this situation.
Here's John Monahan,
Ready, boys, hold it!
scorer of one of the Castleford Tigers' tries in that first half when they ran the Catalan Dragons very close and got themselves back into the game, but it's got away from them virtually since the last few minutes of the first half when Esqueré scored, and Catalan have dominated this second half.
3, move!
Castleford haven't managed to trouble the scorer yet in the second period. Here is Andy Lynch. Oh, that was forward, and Ryan Boyle, grimace on his face, grimace on the face of Luke Gale.
Well, he just delayed and delayed. Should have passed it first time. Lynch made it very difficult for his teammate, who was running the right line, doing everything right. I think Lynch needed to release the ball a fraction earlier. A healthy crowd in here.
Stand, boys!
Well, I think Castleford, Bill, they may be thinking about that trip back to beautiful Yorkshire, beautiful county that we saw a good bit of last Tuesday on the Prostate Cancer UK walk, which is still going on.
The Men United march is still underway. Good luck to Jeff Stelling and Russ Green and the team, who are getting closer to Wembley. St Albans tomorrow. I know that Wednesday is going to be a big day when they get into London, but last Tuesday, was it that long ago? My feet seem to suggest otherwise. Booming pass out like that again. Does that bear out your theory?
They look like they're on a European vacation, some of the NRL players, in my opinion, there, that they've just decided here, look, I know you've got to take some risks and I love to be entertained, but I don't know whether they do take it. It doesn't feel like life or death when I watch them play, where some other sides take it a little bit more seriously. I may be wrong, but that's how I see them.
40 points to 16 the scoreline. 12 minutes or so left in Perpignan. Be a successful Easter for the Catalan Dragons. They'll be very happy about that. That win against Salford. And now on course for a victory against the Castleford Tigers. Joel Monaghan. Ben Crooks upended. And Tom Holmes. Ooh, Holmes out there from Paul Ayton, I think it was. And the referee's seen something, in fact. The touch judge come on. We might see this.
I think it's the touch judge that's coming on to report the late shot that we saw.
It's a penalty.
Penalty, but you want Anderson out to speak to it.
Okay. Louis!
Louis Anderson.
So my apologies to Paul Ayton. It was Louis Anderson who's swung in late.
Makes late, makes late.
And Tom Holmes when he made the pass.
Just think about what we're doing, because it's going straight through the map.
Spins away from it, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, they give you chances, don't they, Phil? Whether it's penalties conceded or the ball's thrown out into touch, Catalan will present you with chances. Castleford have a great opportunity. You talk about Catalan Dragons building for next week in the visit of the Widnes Vikings. Well, Castleford Tigers themselves can build here. The 2 points might go away from the build, but the performance. Remember where they came from into that Leeds victory. They were hammered. The biggest defeat ever under coach Darryl Powell suffered at the hands of the Warrington Wolves. It was an emotional night last Thursday. They aimed up then, and while this game has gone away from the no disgrace in this performance.
Minikin tackled about 5 metres out, dreaming of a 21st birthday hat-trick perhaps. Luke Gale now, here's Millington. Holmes and gets the ball back, the youngster. This is good, here's Hampshire and here's Monaghan, second of the game for Joel Monaghan. And the mate, that looks so easy, the Castleford Tigers. Fluent. And Joel Monaghan, the master finisher, reaches 150 tries in the British game with these 2 tries. This is second.
When you watch tries like that, you say that the Tigers are by far the more skillful side, which they may not be, but on what we're seeing, the way they're playing, they look it. It's a great finish for a fantastic try. Forwards and backs passing into play, and the timing of the runs. Great catch from Hampshire, nice pass to his winger, and a very well worked try, which might not win them any points on the league table. I suppose it'll make the journey home for the Tiger supporters a little more enjoyable, having seen that one.
Castleford Tigers doing what they do best there. And Luke Gale lining up the conversion attempt. They're not going to go down without a fight here in Perpignan. And Gale, eyes on the ball, eyes on the post, 2 more points.
Well, they play with an ignorance of the scoreboard, don't they? They're not bothered what it says. They'll play as hard for as long as they possibly can. Obviously trying to get the ball back in here. It's great how they transfer the ball from the left to the right. And you'd have to question the Dragons' ability there with that little run around, kept the ball alive. Ryan Hampson's timing's good, created the extra man and made it look simple.
The Catalan Dragons lead by 40 points to 22.
Phil, you've watched plenty of games. Will the Catalan Dragons fill you with confidence? Would they? That side, those players in the team, do you think that's a side capable of going to Old Trafford and winning a grand final?
No, and not because of the players, more possibly about the failure to live up to potential.
Well, I think there's other teams in the league, you'll see they'll lose games, but they'll have better application than we see from the Catalan Dragons. Why are you winning 40 points to 22? That may seem like a harsh observation, but it's a fact. The Catalan Dragons flattered to deceive.
They're a bit like the Graham Hick of Super League, flat track bullies.
Never watched much squash ball.
Hampshire. Here's Joel Monaghan.
Everybody's different, and maybe their relaxed style suits them, but doesn't seem to win them enough games in Super League. And things aren't going well. They don't mind a high-scoring game. There's a knock on there now by Luke Gale. He's unhappy with the pass that he's received. But the Dragons seem at times they'll allow their opponents to score lots of points because they have a confidence they can score even more, but it doesn't always work out that way.
And Luke Gale furious at that. The game has gone away from them, but such is the competitive interest. David Taylor preparing to come back. Catalan, they'll just be keen to get the win, to get an Easter double, keeps them well placed in the table.
They need to seriously question, though, their own attitude, because they've got the ability to look at that. When you get pushed off a scrum like that, you've got problems with your attitude and effort. It's not good enough.
The referee, though, bringing them back. It's Muniz who pounced on the ball before Castleford could capitalise on that shove. Huddersfield next up for the Tigers. Widner's just packing their speedos, ready for a trip to Perpignan. And the referee will bring him back again.
So that'll be a game, Bill, next Saturday on Sky Sports. Catalan Dragons, Widnes Vikings. Widnes can get a few of those players back. Some of the injured players that haven't been available over the Easter weekend. The way the Widnes players throw the ball around and have been so solid in defence.
We're talking about throwing the ball around. Castleford just throws that one forwards, and scrappy ending to this game in Perpignan.
Well, perhaps at the end of the toughest weekend in the fixture calendar here now, the last 5 minutes can't tick quick enough here now for these sets of players. They know the final outcome. Just hope somebody could put the finger on the fast forward button here now and get to 80.
I think the Monster is a much better nickname. That's the nickname they've given David Taylor.
I read they call him the coal train because his father was a coal train driver.
I don't think so.
It was because of his size. I think people mistakenly think it's because of his.
Oh, is that right?
I think so. So.
He featured, didn't he, as a centre in the game at Salford on Good Friday. He went out wide there when they had lost players to injury. He must have been probably in the rugby league world the biggest centre in the world.
But he's got a great touch. I mean, he set up a wonderful try in the game against Wakefield. A little grubber kick.
And I think that was one of the criticisms of Dave Taylor's career, that in the big games he might be liable to do something like that. If you're playing high completions, you don't really want that from your front rowers. Show and go, chip and chase.
We're talking about show and go. Oh, Holmes had done the hard work there. He'd wrong-footed the Catalan defence, the 20-year-old, but just lost possession. Catalan looking weary.
A player you'd absolve many criticism is the number 13 there for the Catalan Dragons, Jason Battieri. Love his attitude, his application, the endeavour that he shows in games. He aims up every time. So this is the players here for Catalan. Every time for the Dragons.
Pelissier picking that ball up at the base of the scrum. There is Taylor. McShane down low. Tony Gigot for the Catalan Dragons.
Have they got a special in them here now just to send the fans home happy? An Easter treat to finish off what's been a pretty, well, they've scored 40 points. It's a win.
Glenn Stewart. Stewart grimacing. 32 years of age now. Former Manly hero. Here is Greg Muniz, very much a Catalan hero. This is his 240th Super League appearance for the Dragon, way ahead of anybody else. Escaré goes for one, adds to his tally in the game.
It's a nice skill to have, isn't it, if you need it late in a game. Made it look simple. He had lots of time, thrown back to him, left foot kicker between the uprights with a bit of cover in front. As I say, just trying to help that clock roll over as quickly as it can now. They've got a week at home, well, less than a week in fact, haven't they now, to get ready for the next assignment.
And then they've got Hull Kingston Rovers, I think, the week after that. Game you can see on Sky Sports.
Well, for all the players of Super League, this will be one of the lightest weeks of training that they will ever have. You're just not physically not able to put the players through anymore. It will all be about recovery, trying to get as many healthy bodies, or semi-healthy bodies, as you can on the field for the next round of Super League.
Would you do any training?
Inu won't be one of them out for a suspension. Sorry, Bill. Yeah, he's still out suspended. No, the lightest of team runs is the most as you can hope for. Here he is, Oliver Elima.
Another injured player. Once a Castleford Tigers player, Olivier.
He'd given his chance, wasn't he, in fact? At the Tigers, that's how his career began when he first came over from France. Graham Steadman might have been the coach at the Tigers back in those days.
Here's David Taylor running strong right to the end. Paul Ayton. The penalty goes Catalan Dragons' way. Ayton will be very pleased with how this has gone. Back in the side. Jason Bateri, back at his best. He had that long spell out of the game after a knee injury. Struggled to get back to fitness. Eventually gets to his feet. Can the Catalan Dragons add more points to their tally before the hooter sounds? Muniz is bang in front of those posts. Ryan Boyle pinning him to the ground. Ayton. Pelissier now. Here is Taylor. Taylor rumbling forwards. Looking to get the pass away. He does get the pass away. Straight into the arms of Jai Hitchcocks.
What a great effort from Tom Holmes, the number 27, substitute who came on for Castleford. The sight of Dave Taylor charging at him short of the try line must have been terrifying, but he did enough. It was more than a speed bump, didn't just slow him down, eventually stopped him and his team survived. It's a great moment there in the development of his young career, to be able to do that against a man of his size and fame. Nice offload. They won't give it up, will they? The Hooters coming soon, but they play with an ignorance of the clock and the scoreboard.
Trying it right to the end. Webster still battling. It's a statement, this, from the Castleford Tigers. They might be on the wrong end of the scoreline. They haven't had a look in the second half as far as scoring goes, but just an indication that they're not going to give up here. And here is Ben Crooks. Holmes now. Gale. Gale looping ball out wide, finds Minikin. Minikin. Gigo just is enough to stop him. Going up well, Minikin has. Gale chips the kick over the top, but it's straight into the arms of Thomas Bosk.
Well, they are good to watch, aren't they, the Castleford Tigers? They play the game in a really nice way. It's Daryl Powell. It's been his ethos, his philosophy for as long as he's coached. He'll take a loss, but he wants the game played in the right spirit. I don't think you'll ever see anything nasty from the side coached by Daryl Powell. And in attack, that's in defence, and in attack, they do like to shift the ball around. Entertaining.
For the Catalan Dragons, celebrating as the hooter sounds. A tough trip for the Castleford Tigers, who pushed them all the way in the first 40 minutes, but second half